The Magnificent Seven is directed by Antoine Fuqua and stars Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt, Vincent D'Onofrio, Ethan Hawke, and a ton of other badasses, and is the remake of a remake of a remake. Even though it's kind of a retelling, it's a re-something, but it's something we've seen before. That's all I'm saying. Master filmmaker Akira Kurosawa originally made Seven Samurai, and then The Magnificent Seven came out, and now we have another retelling of it of sorts, but it's the same basic story. One small town is being run amok and taken over by a very evil man played by Peter Sarsgaard, and 7 people band together to help this small town regain their livelihood and fight back against these evil people. This is a story that's fairly timeless, obviously, because it keeps getting retold. There are even tons of other westerns that have a very similar feel as this that just weren't called The Magnificent Seven. As a director, I really like Antoine Fuqua. I find him extremely versatile. He can direct a hard-as-nails drama like Training Day, then he can do an action film that's just pure popcorn fun like Shooter or Olympus Has Fallen, or he can make a fantastic boxing drama like Southpaw. I really think he's an uncommonly versatile director. He can do really any genre, and he proves that again by making a really fun western with The Magnificent Seven. I had a total blast with this movie. It's fun from the opening scene to the closing. Denzel Washington. Do I have to say anything? The man's a friggin' master. He is in total command of his craft. I challenge you to take your eyes off Denzel Washington in this movie. He gives a riveting performance, and Chris Pratt is once again very entertaining in another extremely likable role as a gunslinger who has a penchant for doing magic tricks with cards. There are a couple scenes, and my wife confirmed this because I was like, was this just me? He gets a little Chris Pratt-y, just a tad bit too modern at times with his humor for this period piece film, but really, it's a small nitpick. He was really good. I also really liked Ethan Hawke's character, and it was great to see Denzel and Ethan Hawke back together in a movie again because they were amazing together in Training Day. But I really liked him in this film because he's a very conflicted character. He feels the need to be there to help these people, but he also has a past with Denzel's character, and this past is catching up to him, and he's starting to feel a little bit unsure of himself in this position. I thought he was a very fun character and also a very powerful character. The biggest surprise for me in this movie was Vincent D'Onofrio. I loved him so much. Some people might look at this guy and think, wow, that's really over the top. Yeah, that's what he's best at. Have you seen Men in Black? Have you seen Full Metal Jacket? Have you seen Daredevil? The man owns over the top. He's so freaking hilariously awesome in this movie. His voice is great. It's very high-pitched. He's like this very unassuming person who will just explode and scalp you. Peter Sarsgaard as Bogue in this film is the man who's taking over this small town and pillaging and stealing and killing. He is slimy as hell. I mean, every shot that he's in, it feels like the frame is dripping with some kind of goo. And if you were concerned about the film being PG-13, I can assure you that this is competition for Casino Royale as the most violent PG-13 I've ever seen. It definitely pulls no punches. Yes, things get obscured and sometimes you don't see the blood, but it is pretty brutal. But easily the thing that surprised me the most about this film was how riveted I was by it. It is a standard popcorn film. Don't go to this film expecting a hardcore drama. This is straight up entertainment. And the film knows that and never tries to be anything other than that. And once you realize that that's the tone Antoine Fuqua was going for, this film's a ton of fun. I mean, it has all the classic Western things you come to expect, except we haven't seen them in so long, and it was charmingly refreshing to see a film this old-fashioned with classic standoff duels. Sequences where characters are just staring at each other for a really long time. If you've seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, you've seen the best standoff in Western history. There's nothing that great in this film, but it is riveting because the performances are so good. And Antoine Fuqua shot this film very well. I mean, this is really strong direction. There are shots in this movie, some very beautiful wides of the countryside. There's one shot in particular where I actually said, wow. It's this epic wide shot of Bogue's army of horses that happened near the end of the film that actually really took my breath away. There are 2 very standout shootouts in this movie, one near the second act and one, of course, in the big finale, and both of them were extremely impressive and tons of fun. Some might be upset that it's not as serious-minded minded as films like Seven Samurai, but I don't really see that to be a problem. If this film is successful, it could help revitalize the Western genre. The problem is that there's just not that much you can do in the Western genre that hasn't been done already with films like Open Range, the most recent Django Unchained, which this film is nowhere near as good as that. This doesn't have that level of dialogue or that level of intensity. As a PG-13 action-adventure film starring Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt, and a bevy of incredible actors, directed by Antoine Fuqua, this film is as good as it could have been, and it actually really surprised me. I had a great time with The Magnificent Seven, and I'm gonna give it an A-. Because this film knew exactly what it wanted to be, and it filled itself with a cast that could do that could bring that, and a director who understands how to make this extremely fun to watch, and it blew me away. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching, and thank you to Loot Crate for sponsoring my videos. If you go to the link I've left in the description below and sign up before the 19th of this month, you can get 10% off when you use the coupon code Stuckmann for their September crate of goodies, and it's all about speed. There's stuff from CW's The Flash, Gone in 60 Seconds, a lot of really cool stuff in that crate, so definitely check out the link I left in the description below and use the coupon code Stuckmann for 10% off. You guys are the best. Thank you so much as always for watching, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.